versus Soulburner. In Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains, most duels are fought to save the world, but when Revolver faces Soulburner, the stakes are much more personal. At its core, this duel is about atonement and resolution. It's a clash between someone who thinks they deserve punishment and someone who wants to find a reason to keep on living. Spoilers, they duel twice, and in the first duel, the duel is abandoned. Revolver simply refuses to duel despite having a cracked hand. The rematch ends with Soulburner's victory, however. Having burnt away all his resentment in the process, he's finally able to move on. The question then becomes, did Revolver go as far as to throw the duel to help Soulburner out of his trauma? By analysing the duels, were there any obvious misplays that Revolver did that would have resulted in his victory? Well, we won't know unless we jump into the duel. The duel begins and Soulburner goes first. His opening hand consists of Salamangreat Wolvie, Salamangreat Paro, Salamangreat Falco, Fury of Fire, and Salamangreat Geyser. Soulburner starts by summoning his Salamangreat Wolvie to the field. He then activates his Fury of Fire. This lets him target up to 2 Salamangreat monsters in his hand and or grave, and then summon them to the field into defense with their effects negated. However, for the rest of this turn, only one more special summon from the extra deck can occur. Soulburner summons Salamangreat Paro and Salamangreat Falco from his hand. He links all 3 together to summon his Link 3 ace monster, Salamangreat Yugioh. He sets Salamangreat Geyser face down and ends his turn. It's Revolver's turn, and the penultimate turn of the duel. He draws. His opening hand consists of Magna Rocket Dragon, Gateway Dragon, Anisrocket Dragon, Auto Rocket Dragon, Sniffer Dragon, and Boot Sector Launch. Revolver refuses to duel and ends his turn. It's Soulburner's turn, and the final turn of the duel. He draws and gets Salamangreat Jack Jaguar. He summons it to the field. Wide open, Soulburner enters his battle phase and attacks Revolver directly with Yugioh. With Jack Jaguar's direct attack next, Soulburner will win the duel. However, of course, this victory will mean nothing, and so both duelists end the duel with a no victory. So that begs the question, if Revolver would have tried this duel, could he have won the duel? Yes. Yes, he could have. In fact, he could have FTK'd. So Soulburner ends his turn. Revolver's turn. Special summon Gateway Dragon since there's a Link monster on the field. Use its effect to special summon a Dark Dragon in hand. Summon Sniffer Dragon. We don't even need to use Sniffer Dragon's effect because we can just play the field spell, use its first effect to special summon the 2 weaker rockets, and then normal summon the strongest one into attack. Link everything apart from the 1 rocket into our ace, Borrel Dragon. Enter the battle phase, attack and steal Yugioh. Attack the opponent directly with Yugioh, followed by the rocket monster. That's 2300 damage plus 2100 damage. That's game. Soulburner can't use his set trap because there is no Link monster in his grave. So there you go. Yes, Revolver could have won if he did try hard, but that begs the question now, what about the rematch? Forewarning, this is my first master duel from Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains, and it's one of the most modern duels you have in the entire Yu-Gi-Oh! Franchise, so there's gonna be a lot of comboing, so I just want you to be prepared for that. There's gonna be a lot of me talking, so here we go. The duel begins and Soulburner goes first. His opening hand consists of the exact same hand he had in the first duel. In fact, Soulburner performs the exact same combo he did last time. He summons Wolvie, activates Fury of Fire, summons Falco and Parrot, Link summons into Yugioh, sets Salamangreat Geyser face down, and ends his turn. Now, should Soulburner have changed his opening play a little bit? Yes. First of all, I don't believe in the first duel between Soulburner and Revolver. He had Salamangreat Links yet. I think this is a new card that he only has in this duel, and obviously previously, but he didn't have it in their first duel. So I think what he should have done is definitely Link summon this monster, getting rid of that Wolvie, and then go into whatever play he goes into. So at least with this card in the graveyard, if his monster will be destroyed by battle or card effect, he can protect it. So it's not too big of an issue on what Revolver does on his next turn, but it is a big issue if a hypothetical scenario I'm going to talk about in a minute would have happened, would have saved his life. So let's see how the duel plays out. It's Revolver's turn, and he draws. His opening hand is similar but slightly different to his previous Duel's hand. It consists of Boot Sector Launch, Silver Rocket Dragon, Aneth Rocket Dragon, Noctivision Dragon, Rocket Recharger, and Barrel Buster Barrier. Revolver activates his field spell Boot Sector Launch. With this on the field, rocket monsters gain 300 attack and defense. Also, once per turn, this card can either special summon up to 2 rocket monsters with different names from the hand into defense, or if the opponent controls more monsters than you do, special summon rocket monsters with different names from your graveyard into defense, up to the difference. Revolver uses the first effect. He summons Silver Rocket Dragon and Aneth Rocket Dragon to the field. He sends them both to the grave in order to link summon his Link 2 Quad Barrel Dragon. Its effect is it can target one face-up monster on the field, destroy it, then if it was a Link monster, Revolver can special summon any number of rocket monsters with different names from his hand or grave, up to the destroyed monster's Link rating. But for the rest of this turn, you can't summon Link 2 or lower monsters from the extra deck. Revolver activates its effect. He discards his Rocket Recharger to destroy Soulburner's Yugioh. Since a Link 3 monster was destroyed, Revolver can now summon 3 rocket monsters. He summons the Silver Rocket, Aneth Rocket, and Rocket Recharger in his grave. Now, since a Dark Dragon monster was special summoned to the field, Noctivision Dragon's effect activates, which lets it special summon itself to the field. Revolver links his Silver Rocket, Aneth Rocket, Rocket Recharger, and Noctivision together to summon his Link 4 ace monster, Borrelode Dragon. Borrelode's effect is neither player can target it with monster effects. Once per turn, quick effect, you can target one face-up monster on the field. It loses 500 attack and defense. Your opponent can activate cards or effects in response to this effect's activation. At the start of the damage step, if this card attacks an opponent's monster, you can take control of an opponent's monster by placing it in a zone this card points to. Send that monster to the grave during the end phase of the next turn. Since Noctivision was sent to the grave for the summon of a Link monster, Revolver now gets to draw a card. He draws and gets Final Off Guard. With an open field, he attacks Soulburner directly first with Quad Barrel Dragon. The attack is successful. Soulburner takes the first damage of the duel. Revolver then orders Borrelode to attack. If this attack is successful, Revolver will win. However, Soulburner responds by activating his set trap, Salamangreat Geyser. This trap lets him target one monster the opponent controls and one Salamangreat Link monster in his own grave, return the monster in the grave back to the extra deck, then reduce the opponent's monster attack by 1000 times the monster return's Link rating. This lasts until the end of the turn. Soulburner can then draw cards equal to the number of Link monsters the opponent controls. Soulburner returns Salamangreat Yugioh from his graveyard back into his extra deck. Borrelode Dragon loses 3000 attack. Soulburner draws 2 new cards. He gets Salamangreat Colonel and Salamangreat Gazelle. With 0 attack points, Borrelode Dragon's direct attack does nothing. Revolver moves into his main phase 2 and sets Barrel Buster Barrier face down and ends his turn. As he does, Borrelode's attack returns to normal. Could Revolver have won on his very first turn if he tried hard, just like he could have done on the previous duel? Yes, he could have. Soulburner ends his turn. Revolver's turn. Activate the field spell. Normal summon a rocket, special summon the other 2 rockets with a field spell. Special summon Noctivision. Link into Dilingerous Dragon, draw a card from Noctivision. Link into Quad Barrel Dragon, use its effect to discard a card to destroy Yugioh. Summon 3 monsters from the grave. Link into Trisbana. Soulburner uses his trap on the strongest monster on our side of the field, Trisbana. Then, the rest of our monsters attack the game. So, yeah, it was as simple as that, really. You just need to get enough monsters out that no matter what that trap targeted, it would have been game. Does this play require hindsight? I guess it does, because Soulburner didn't use that card in his last duel, so Revolver didn't know to look out for that specific play. But theoretically with this play, yes, Soulburner could have won. But if Soulburner had summoned the Salamangreat Balinks on his first turn like he said he should have, then he actually would have been able to survive this turn with this. So I'm actually going to call a misplay to both Soulburner and for Revolver. Misplay to you both. And I'm really curious if there's anyone a bit more savvy with rocket monsters, could you make a play with the cards that he had to go for a win? So if you want to give this challenge a go, this is Revolver's deck according to me, and this is Soulburner's deck according to me. It might be different, but this is roughly what it would be. Give me your play-by-play in your comments, or link me to your video if you've got a YouTube channel or anything like that if you succeed in this combo. But yeah, good luck. It's back to Soulburner, and he draws Salamangreat Spinny. He summons it to the field and then immediately links it off to summon his Link 1, Salamangreat Balinx. The summon effect of Balinx activates, followed by the effect of Salamangreat Gazelle in his hand. Since the Salamangreat monster has been sent to the grave, this card summons itself from the hand to the field. Balinx's effect lets Soulburner add Salamangreat Sanctuary from his deck straight to his hand. Since Gazelle was summoned, its second effect activates, which lets him send any Salamangreat card from his deck to the grave. He sends Fusion of Fire, which is always treated as a Salamangreat card. Since Soulburner controls a Salamangreat monster while Spinny is in the grave, he can activate its graveyard effect to summon itself to the field, but it is banished when it next leaves the field. With 2 level 3 monsters, Soulburner overlays Gazelle and Spinny to Xyz summon his rank 3 Salamangreat Mirage Stalio. He activates Mirage Stalio's effect by detaching one of its materials. He can special summon any Salamangreat monster from his deck to the field into defense. However, for the rest of this turn, Soulburner can only use fire monsters' effects. He plays a entirely fire-based deck, so this restriction doesn't matter at all. He summons Salamangreat Jaguar. He sends his Link 1 Balinx and Mirage Stalio to the grave to summon his Link 2 Salamangreat Sunlight Wolf. Soulburner chooses not to use the second effect of Mirage Stalio, which is if it's sent to the graveyard as part of a Link summon, it can target one monster on the field and return it to the hand. Borrowload can't be targeted by card effects, however Quad Borrow can. Soulburner chose not to return Quad Borrow because he wants to keep it on the field so he can use it to be attacked after he seals the opponent's back row. Revolver later states that not bouncing his Quad Borrow was a misplay, however even if he did try to do it back here, then Revolver could just use his trap anyway to tribute Quad Borrow to equip it to his Borrowload dragon, so it's not really a misplay, but it was worth Soulburner attempting it anyway. He then sends the just summoned Sunlight Wolf and Jaguar to the grave to link summon a second copy of Sunlight Wolf. Since Sunlight Wolf was used for the summon of Sunlight Wolf, Sunlight Wolf's effect activates. He can add a Salamangreat spell or trap in the grave to the hand. He adds the Fusion of Fire he sent earlier. Since Soulburner controls a Salamangreat Link monster while Jaguar is in the grave, he can activate its graveyard effect. He can shuffle another Salamangreat monster in his grave back into the deck to summon this monster into a zone a Salamangreat Link monster points to. He shuffles back Salamangreat Spinny to summon it. Now, some of you might just quickly jump in there and say, wait a minute, Salamangreat Spinny in the grave shouldn't have been banished since it used its own effect to special summon itself from the graveyard and said it had to banish itself when it leaves the field. That's true, except it was detached from an Xyz monster, and that means it wasn't sent from the field to the grave. Technically, that is like a separate place, so it doesn't meet the criteria of being sent from the field to the graveyard, so it's not banished. It's a loophole, but it's absolutely legal. Since a monster was summoned to a zone Sunlight Wolf points to, its effect activates. He can add one fire monster from his grave to his hand. However, he cannot normal summon, set, or special summon monsters with the added monster's name. He adds back to his hand Salamangreat Wolvie. Since Wolvie was added to the hand from the grave, its effect activates. By revealing it, he can target any card in his grave and add it to his hand. He adds back his Salamangreat Geyser Trap. He sends his Jaguar and the Link 2 Sunlight Wolf to the grave to summon, for the second time, his Link 3 Ace monster, Salamangreat Heat Leo. Since it was Link summoned, its effect allows Soulburner to shuffle one spell or trap on the field back into the opponent's deck. He attempts to shuffle back Revolver's set card. Oh my god, Revolver! I forgot he was even in this duel. It's been a hot minute since we've seen him. Anyway, my bad, bro. Let's see what you do. Unfortunately for Soulburner, since he is targeting a set card while Revolver controls a Link monster, Noctivision Dragon's graveyard effect activates. By banishing it, it negates the effect of a card that would target an opponent's set card. Then, for the rest of this turn, the opponent cannot target set cards with card effects. Heat Leo's effect is negated. Soulburner activates his field spell, Salamangreat Sanctuary. This card has the effect if Soulburner Link summons a Salamangreat Link monster, he can use one Salomon Great Link monster with the same name as the entire material. As well, during damage calculation, if his monster battles, he can pay 1,000 life points, target one Link monster he controls, make its attack 0, and if he does, gain life points equal to its original attack. Soulburner uses Sanctuary's effect to Link summon another copy of Yugioh by using Yugioh as its only material. Since Yugioh was used for the Link summon of Yugioh, Yugioh's effect activates. It can target one monster on the field and one monster in the grave, make the attack of the monster on the field the same as the one in the grave, until the end of the turn. Soulburner makes Quad Borrel's attack the attack of Balinks in the grave. Why didn't he pick Borrel Dragon? Borrel Dragon can't be targeted by monster effects. Soulburner activates Fusion of Fire. This card can be used to fusion summon a Salomon Great fusion monster. And when used, the wielder can use monsters from not only their hand, but from both sides of the field. Now the plan here, he has to use Yugioh since it's the material for his Violent Chimera he's trying to summon, but he wants to use the opponent's Borrel Dragon then attack for game with a huge monster. That is the plan. It's a good one, but it's not going to work. Revolver, in response, activates his set card, Borrel Buster Barrier. This card's effect is that by tributing a Link monster, he can equip this card to a Borrel Link monster. This trap then gains counters equal to the tributed monster's Link rating. The equipped monster is unaffected by opponent's activated effects. This trap cannot be targeted by opponent's card effects. Also, once per battle during damage calculation, if the equipped monster battles, you can remove one counter from this card to activate one of these effects. Destroy the opponent's monster after damage calculation, and if you do, inflict damage equal to half the attack that monster had on the field, or halve any battle damage you take from that battle. He tributes Quad Borrel, so Borrel Buster Barrier can equip itself to Borrel Dragon. It gains 2 counters. Fusion of Fire's effect resolves. Now, since Borrelode is immune to activated effects, it can't be used as a fusion material for the opponent's card. So, Soulburner is forced to fuse his Yugioh on the field with the Salomon Great Wolvie in his hands. He summons Salomon Great Violet Chimera. Violet Chimera's effect is it gains attack until the end of the turn, equal to half the combined attack of its materials. It can also, once per battle during damage calculation, if this monster battles an opponent's monster whose current attack is different from its original attack, its attack is doubled during damage calculation only. Soulburner equips his Violet Chimera with his equipped spell, Salomon Great Kernel. This card can only be equipped to a Salomon Great monster in the extra monster zone. The equipped monster is unaffected by opponent's non-Link monster activated effects. Control of this monster cannot switch, and this equipped card cannot be destroyed or be banished by card effects. If the equipped monster attacks, the opponent's monster loses 800 attack during the damage step. Also, once per turn, if the equipped monster would be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can return one Link 2 or higher Salomon Great monster in your grave back to the extra deck instead. And if you do, the equipped monster cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects for the rest of this turn. And so, Soulburner moves into his battle phase and attacks Borrel Dragon with Violet Chimera. Kernel's effect reduces Borrelode's attack by 800. This effect works despite Borrel Buster Barrier because it's not classed as an activated effect. Revolver uses Borrelode's quick effect to reduce the attack and defense of Violet Chimera by 500. Since Borrelode's attack is different from its original attack, the second effect of Chimera activates, doubling its own attack. If Revolver is hit with this attack, he will lose the duel. So he uses one of the counters on Borrel Buster Barrier to halve the battle damage he would take from a battle involving this monster. Borrel Dragon is destroyed along with Borrel Buster Barrier. However, Revolver survives. Soulburner moves into his main phase 2 and sets Salomon Great Geyser face down and ends his turn. As it does, Violet Chimera's attack returns to normal. Now, could Soulburner have won the duel this turn? Well, a winning card for Soulburner would have been a Salomon Great Pyro Phoenix, which, if he can reincarnate summon it using his field spell, if that monster is summoned to the field, it lets him destroy all cards the opponent controls. He can then target one Link monster in the opponent's graveyard, special summon it to the opponent's side of the field. If a Link monster is special summoned to the opponent's side of the field, you can target one of those monsters, inflict damage to your opponent, equal to that monster's original attack. Revolver could protect Borreload Dragon with Borrel Buster Barrier, but Borrel Buster Barrier would be destroyed by the field wipe getting rid of it. After that, he can target a Link monster in Revolver's graveyard and summon it to the field, probably a small one, and then deal damage equal to that monster's attack. Then attack into it for even more damage. I actually don't think this would result in game, however, so I don't think Soulburner could have won this turn, but let me know in the comment section below. Do you think he could have? Now, it's worth noting at this point in the duel, Soulburner's like, I've done enough. I've done so much damage to you. I've wiped out your ace monster. You're as good as cooked. However, Revolver's like, no, if you think that's good enough, that's not good enough. This is modern Yu-Gi-Oh! If you haven't won by turn 3, you ain't getting another turn. So I'm going to cook you on my next turn. Let's see if that's true. It's Revolver's turn, and the penultimate turn of the duel. He draws and gets Borrel Regenerator. As a reminder, his current hand is 2 cards, Borrel Regenerator and Final Off Guard. Since his life points are lower than the opponent's, and only the opponent controls a monster special summoned from the extra deck, he can activate his spell, Final Off Guard. It lets him draw 2 new cards. He gets Squibdraw and Absoluta Dragon. Since the opponent has more monsters on the field than he does, he activates the second effect of his field spell, which lets him summon as many rocket monsters in his grave as possible, equal to the difference in monsters between his and his opponent's field. The difference is 1, so Revolver summons only 1 monster. He summons Anas Rocket Dragon from his grave. Revolver activates his equip spell, Borrel Regenerator. This summons a rocket monster in his grave to the field and then equips itself to it. If the equipped monster is destroyed and this card is sent to the grave, Revolver can draw a card. Also, when this card leaves the field, banish the equipped monster. He brings back Silver Rocket Dragon by equipping this card to it. Revolver activates his Squibdraw. By targeting and destroying 1 rocket monster he controls, he can draw 2 new cards. He destroys Silver Rocket and draws Borrel Half Replace and Link Burst. Since Borrel Regenerator was sent to the grave along with the equipped monster, he draws another card. He gets a mysterious card. This card's going to get discarded in a minute to pay a cost. I don't quite know what it is, so I'll leave that to all of you. What do you think it is? It's going to get discarded, so it must not have been too good, but we'll see. Since Revolver controls a rocket monster, he can special summon his Absoluta Dragon from his hand. He sends Anas Rocket and Absoluta to the grave to summon his Link 2 Quad Borrel Dragon. Since Absoluta Dragon was sent to the grave, it now lets him add a rocket monster from his deck straight to his hand. He adds Rocket Synchron. Following this, he activates Borrel Half Replace. This lets him target 1 Borrel Link monster in his grave and then special summon 1 Borrel Link monster from his extra deck with the same Link rating, but with a different name. The summoned monster's attack is halved, its effects are negated, and it is destroyed at the end of the turn. Also, while Borrel Half Replace is in the grave, it can be banished along with 2 rocket monsters in the grave to special summon 1 Link 2 Dark monster from your extra deck to a zone a Borrel Link monster points to. This is treated as a Link summon. And so, Revolver targets his Link 4 Borreload Dragon in the grave. He summons his Link 4 Borrel Sword Dragon from his extra deck. Now, I'm just going to throw this out there. Borrel Sword Dragon isn't correctly summoned. It wasn't Link summoned, so it can't be brought back from the graveyard if you have something like Monster Reborn or anything. So I think because of how good Borrel Sword Dragon is, it would have been better to put another Link 4 Borrel monster on the field, like Borrel Guard Dragon or something. It's not a huge deal, but it would have meant more options later down the line. So personally, I think he should have summoned Borrel Guard Dragon here, but yeah. Revolver uses the second effect of Borrel Half Replace in the grave. He banishes it, Silver Rocket, and Anas Rocket to summon his Link 2 Dark Dragon, Booster Dragon. He then uses the effect of Quad Borrel. He discards that mysterious card in order to destroy a monster on the field. Violet Chimera can't be destroyed due to Salomon Great Colonel, so instead, Revolver destroys his own Borrel Sword Dragon. Since a Link monster was destroyed by Quad Borrel's effect, he can now summon as many rocket monsters with different names from his hand or grave up to the destroyed monster's Link rating. Revolver, able to summon up to 4 monsters, summons 2, Magna Rocket Dragon and Rocket the Charger. He uses his Booster Dragon's effect. Once per turn, it can target 1 other monster on the field. It gains 500 attack and defense. The opponent cannot activate cards or effects in response to this effect's activation. If this Link summon card is destroyed by a battle or card effect and sent to the grave, Revolver can target 1 other dragon monster in his grave and special summon it. He targets his Magna Rocket. Magna Rocket's effect activates in response. Since a Link monster's effect was activated that targeted it, quick effect effect, it can destroy itself to send one monster on the field to the grave. Revolver destroys Magna Rocket and attempts to send Violent Chimera to the grave. It doesn't work due to Salamangreat Kernel being equipped. So Revolver now uses his Link Burst spell. By targeting a Link monster he controls and a monster the opponent controls, he can destroy them both and draw a card. He destroys his own Booster Dragon and attempts to destroy Violet Chimera. This play would have worked, but Salamangreat's other protection ability activates. Since the card it's equipped with would be destroyed by a battle or card effect, Soulburner can instead return one Link 2 or higher Salamangreat monster in his grave to the extra deck instead, to make it so the equipped monster cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects for the rest of this turn. He returns Salamangreat Sunlight Wolf. Revolver draws a card and gets Karmacept Dragon. Since a dark monster he controls that was special summoned from the extra deck was destroyed by a battle or card effect, Rocket Recharge's second effect activates. As well, since Booster Dragon was destroyed, its effect also activates. Booster Dragon summons a dragon monster in the grave to the field. He summons back his Borrelode Dragon. Rocket Recharge's effect then activates. He sends this card to the grave and then targets one of the destroyed monsters that triggered this effect. Special summon one dark monster from your grave with a different original name than the monster you targeted. He targets Booster Dragon and then summons Quad Borrel Dragon. Revolver normal summons his Rocket Synchron from his hand. Since Rocket Synchron was normal summoned, its effect activates, letting Revolver target a level 5 or higher Dark Dragon monster in his grave and summon it into defense. But its effects are negated and it's destroyed during the end phase. He targets and summons Absoluta Dragon. He tunes the level 7 non-tuner Absoluta with the level 1 tuner Rocket Synchron to synchro summon Borrelode Savage Dragon. When Borrelode Savage Dragon is synchro summoned, it equips a Link monster to itself from the grave and then gains Borrel counters equal to the equipped monster's Link rating. As well, this monster gains attack equal to half the equipped monster's attack. He equips his Link 4 Borrel Sword Dragon. Borrelode Savage Dragon gains 4 Borrel counters. Its attack increases. Now, while Borrelode Savage Dragon is on the field, when the opponent activates a card or effect, Revolver can quick effect remove a Borrel counter to negate the activation. However, this effect can only be used once per turn. Revolver sends his 2 Link 2 Quad Borrels to the grave to Link summon his Link 4 Topologic Zeroboros. This card has the effect that Revolver cannot summon or set monsters to any extra monster zone this card points to. It gains 200 attack for each banished card. If a monster is special summoned to a zone a Link monster points to, while this monster is on the field, banish all cards on the field. Once per turn during the standby phase of your next turn after this card was banished by its own effect, special summon this banished card. With 4 banished cards, this monster gains 800 attack. Note that summoning Zeroboros here is technically a misplay. I'll tell you why in a minute, but he could have had a better summon. We'll get to it in a second, but for now. Revolver moves into his battle phase. He orders Borrelode Dragon to attack Violet Chimera. He activates Borrelode's effect to reduce the attack and defense of Violet Chimera by 500. Soulburner in response activates his set trap, Salamangreat Geyser, attempting to weaken Borrelode Dragon. However, Revolver activates the effect of Borrelode Savage Dragon. He removes 1 counter to negate the activation of Soulburner's trap. Borrelode Dragon's attack is successful. Violet Chimera isn't destroyed thanks to the effect of Salamangreat Kernel, but Soulburner still takes the damage. Following this, Revolver orders Borrelode Savage Dragon to attack Chimera. Since Violet Chimera is now battling a monster whose attack is different from its original attack, its effect activates, doubling its attack. Sadly, its attack is still lower than Savage Dragon's. Violet Chimera is again not destroyed by the battle, but Soulburner still takes the damage. Violet Chimera's attack returns back to 1800. Revolver orders Zeroboros to attack. Again, Violet Chimera doubles its attack since it's battling a monster with altered stats, but yet again it is too weak. Chimera isn't destroyed, and Soulburner still takes the damage. Violet Chimera's attack again returns to normal. Revolver ends his turn. As he does, the effect of Magna Rocket in his grave activates. During the end phase, if this card is in the grave because it was destroyed on the field by battle or card effect and sent there this turn, you can special summon 1 rocket monster from your deck except Magna Rocket Dragon. He summons Auto Rocket Dragon into a zone Zeroboros points to. Since a monster was summoned to a zone Zeroboros points to, its effect activates, which banishes all cards on the field. Revolver's Borrelload Dragon, Savage Dragon, Boral Sword Dragon, Zeroboros, Auto Rocket, and Boot Sector Launch are banished. Soulburner's Salamangreat Sanctuary and Violet Chimera are banished. Colonel isn't banished since it's incapable of being banished, but since the monster it was equipped to is no longer on the field, it is sent to the grave. Right, so that was a long turn, but Revolver said at the start of this turn, oh, I'm going to cook you this turn, there will be no next turn, but there is going to be a next turn. Was Revolver yapping? Really? Could he not have won the duel this turn? Yes, he could have. Reminder, Revolver might be holding back because he wants to help Soulburner, but let's just say he's not. This is what he could have done. Instead of summoning Zeroboros, Revolver summons his topologic Bomber Dragon. That monster has the effect, if it attacks after damage calculation, inflict damage to the opponent equal to that monster's original attack. So it gets attacked by this monster. Violet Chimera can't double its own attack since Bomber Dragon's attack isn't altered. So that's 1200 battle damage, followed by 2800 burn damage. GG Revolver. And as a little fun alternative, you could have actually still won, but on the next turn, basically. Same play, he gets out Zeroboros, does everything the same, except now, instead of summoning a rocket monster in a zone Zeroboros points to, just don't do that. It's Soulburner's turn. He has no cards in his hand. He draws and gets Burning Draw. He can't activate it because 1, he has a monster on the field, and 2, even if he could, Revolver could just negate it with Savage Dragon. Soulburner moves into his battle phase. Revolver uses Borrelload's effect again, reducing Chimera's attack even more. It now only has 1300 attack. If Soulburner tries to use Colonel's effect to reduce the attack of one of Revolver's monsters by 800, it can be negated by Borrelload's Savage Dragon, and even if Soulburner doubles the attack of his monster, it won't be enough to get over anything. So, with no more plays, Soulburner ends his turn. Revolver's turn, he attacks and wins. Revolver also has a monster called Trisbana. I don't think this would have won the duel for him if he would have summoned that instead of Zeroboros. So when a monster is summoned to a zone this card points to, it banishes the monster summoned to the zone it points to, and then it banishes all spells and traps on the field. And then for every spell or trap you banish of your opponents, you deal 500 damage to the opponent. And I'm pretty sure there's only 700 life points, but that's, you'd have to factor in the changes in plays and everything. But the spell card that is equipped to, obviously, Heat Leo can't be banished because of its effect, so we can only do 500 damage with that. So I don't think there's a way of winning with that, unfortunately. But yeah, I think based on how easy it is for Revolver to have actually won this duel and how many different ways he could have won of, and I bet there's loads that I've missed throughout the turn that he could just played a little bit more optimally. Maybe Revolver did hold back against Soulburner, but that's most likely not true because he did say he was going to go all out on Soulburner, which he did, even though he did want to teach him the values of moving forward and everything. So it's a really funny one, but yeah, Revolver could have won. And can I just say, it's kind of funny that Salamangreat Balinx is doing nothing in the graveyard because there's never been an opportunity to destroy a monster that's not had an ability to keep itself alive anyway. So I just thought that was kind of funny. Anyway, it's Soulburner's turn. And the final turn of the duel. Revitalized by Revolver's words, he burning draws and gets Burning Draw. The standby phase occurs and Zeroboros returns back to the field. Revolver summons it into the central monster zone so that it points to both extra monster zones. Now, if Soulburner summons a new Link monster from his extra deck, the field will be instantly banished again. Not only that, but now that there are more banish cards, Zeroboros' attack is even higher. Due to Soulburner controlling no cards, he can activate his Burning Draw. This lets him target a Link monster the opponent controls and then draw cards equal to its Link rating. Also now, he can only summon fire monsters. He targets Zeroboros, which allows him to draw 4 new cards. He gets Link Fire's Return, Salamangreat Salamandra, Salamangreat Transcendence, and Salamangreat Sanctuary. Soulburner activates his Link Fire's Return. By targeting one Salamangreat Link monster in his grave, he can special summon it. However, it cannot attack or activate its effects for the rest of his turn. And then the opponent takes 200 damage equal to the Link rating of the summoned monster. He summons the Link 3 Salamangreat Heat Leo. Revolver takes 600 damage. Soulburner next activates the effect of Salamangreat Salamandra in his hand. By revealing it, he can summon a Salamangreat monster in his hand whose level is less than or equal to the total link ratings of the link monsters on the field. Since there are a total of 7 link ratings, he can summon a level 7 or lower monster. He summons itself since it's a level 6. He sends it and the link 3 Heatleo to the grave to summon his link 4 Salamangreat Pyro Phoenix. Since a monster has been summoned to a zone a link monster points to, Zoroboros effect activates, banishing all cards on the field. Before Zoroboros and Pyro Phoenix are banished, Revolver activates the effect of his Karma Sept Dragon in his hand. Since a link monster was special summoned to the opponent's field, he can target one of those monsters, equip this monster to it. Now, if the equipped monster is banished, it will inflict damage to the opponent equal to that monster's attack. As well, if this card is sent to the grave, you can target one link monster in your opponent's grave, special summon one of your banished dragon link monsters with an equal or lower rating than the targeted monster. Revolver attempts to equip it to Salamangreat Pyro Phoenix, which would win him the duel when it's banished. However, Soulburner activates his quick play spell, Salamangreat Transcendence. This lets him target one Salamangreat link monster he controls, and special summon one Salamangreat link monster with the same name from the extra deck, using that monster as its entire material. Pyro Phoenix is sent to the grave to link summon another Pyro Phoenix. Since Karma Sept's target is no longer on the field, it whiffs and sends itself to the grave. Zoroboros' effect activates regardless, banishing itself and Pyro Phoenix. Since Karma Sept was sent to the grave, its second effect activates, letting Revolver summon a banished Dragon Link monster with a lower rating than a monster in Revolver's graveyard. He targets the Link 4 Pyro Phoenix in Soulburner's grave to summon the Link 4 Borrel-Load Dragon that is banished. Following this, since Salamandra, while in the grave, witnessed a Link-summoned Salamangreat Link monster leaving the field because of an opponent's card effect, it can now banish itself to special summon a Salamangreat Link monster from his own grave with a lower Link rating than the Link monster that left the field. However, the effects of all monsters on the field are then negated. The monster special summoned by this effect is destroyed during the end phase. Salamandra is banished in order to summon Salamangreat Heatleo. Borrel-Load and Heatleo's effects are both negated. Soulburner activates his field spell, Salamangreat Sanctuary. He uses its effect to link summon Heatleo using Heatleo. Since Heatleo was summoned using Heatleo as its material, Heatleo's effect activates, allowing it to change the attack of a monster on the field to the attack of a monster in the grave. He changes Borrel-Load Dragon's attack to the attack of Balinx. Soulburner enters his battle phase and attacks Borrel-Load Dragon. Revolver's life points drop to 0. Soulburner wins the duel. That was so much talking. Oh my god, even my camera's about to die. That was a full battery as well. That took 55 minutes to do all that. Let's see what the video ends up as. But guys, if you liked the video, please subscribe. It would mean the world to me. These are hard to make, and this one was really, really hard. Brains, Master Duels, crazy. I think my camera's just about to run out of battery, so don't forget to check out one of these videos. Don't forget to subscribe. But other than that, thank you all for watching. Well done, Soulburner. Catch you later. Bye, everyone. Oh, and don't forget to check out the merch. It's on sale. I'll leave a link down below. Enjoy.